Hello, friends. You are watching the Cowboys Report. I am your host, Tom Downey. Today, we're taking a look at some potential cap cuts, the fat that can be trimmed from the Cowboys roster. Now, the good news is they're in good shape. As of right now, around $82 million. The number tends to fluctuate based on futures deals that are signed, how the various sites are using the numbers. $82 million. That's just the round number that we'll call it. And the Cowboys actually don't have very many bad contracts to dump. Unlike recent years, their cap sheet is in pretty good shape. Now, one very important note before we dive in to the players that could be cut. There is no new collective bargaining agreement. What that means is the Cowboys cannot designate cuts as a post-June 1st cut to spread the dead money out across 2 years. Normally, if you have $10 million in dead money, you can cut a player, take $5 on this year's cap hit, and $5 on next year's cap hit. That is no longer the case if there's no new CBA. It's the final league year. There's no year to push it out in terms of the bookmaking. So keep that in mind. The changes, we will revisit this. First up is the punter. Chris Jones can get all the way the hell out of Dallas. I'm done. I am done with him, and it is very clear why. This is the easiest decision the Cowboys are going to have to make all year. He has a $2.4 million cap hit. You have only $1 million in dead money. So you save $1.4 million if you cut Chris Jones. Chris Jones, among qualifying punters, folks, was dead last in the NFL in yards per punt and net average. Now, yes, you have some variation there in terms of how other players are impacting you. If you're dead last in the NFL, that means you suck relative to the rest of the punters. Get out. I'm done. There is zero reason to bring back Chris Jones. Yes, he had the great punt. The great hit on the punt. That was great. Look at the bottom 5 NFL players in net yards per punt. I'll be fully honest with you. I don't know who 80% of these guys are. Haven't heard of them because they're punters. Chris Jones can go. Bring in somebody else. Spend a 7th round pick if you want. Sign an undrafted free agent. You can find a punter who can do what Chris Jones does at half the cost. Get him out of here. It is a no-brainer for the Dallas Cowboys. Easiest decision they're going to make all off season. Now, who do you want the Cowboys to cut? I saw some names coming in earlier. I see a lot of cut Chris Jones. I appreciate that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. We'll go through a bunch of names here. If you're watching on YouTube, you might get an ad break here. If you do, scroll down to the pinned comment. I've made this question the pinned comment for you guys to reply to. Another option here for the Cowboys is Cam Fleming. Now, technically speaking, Cam Fleming isn't actually a potential cut. He has a club option for the 2020 season, but in all practicality, this acts as a cut. $5.19 million cap hit for your backup swing tackle who's whatever. There aren't any good ones out there because they're all starters, but it's whatever. Dead money is only $750K. So if you decline the club option on Cam Fleming, you save $4.4 million. Is that worth it? I would say yes. You can utilize that to, frankly, re-sign somebody like a backup safety or use it to help pay a Byron Jones or something. My big question, though, if you let go of Cam Fleming, do you trust Brandon Knight to be your swing tackle? I would say it's worth trying. You could also draft somebody else in the later rounds to help develop, too. So I am down to cut Cam Fleming. You save so much money by doing it. I think it's worthwhile. If you only saved like $2 million, I think it'd be a different conversation. But I think Fleming, as much as you worry about Tyron Smith's health, I don't know if $5 million is really worth it there in the end. So you guys cast your votes here. P for pickup, D for decline. What are you doing with Cam Fleming's team option? I'm going to decline it. That money, that $4.5 million, I can use that in other areas. I think it's a little bit more important. You guys keep your votes coming. I see some P's and D's coming in, so we'll let those flow in. Keep them coming while I tell you guys about a deal I have for you. Cowboys t-shirts are 50% off. Head over to chatsports.com/Cowboys shirts. Chatsports.com Cowboys shirts. There's not just that one. There are all kinds of ones available on sale right now, up to 50% off. Check the description. Check the comments. I've got the links there for you guys in there. All right, next up is Tyrone Crawford. Several of you mentioned him beforehand. It makes so much sense, right? $9 million cap hit. The dead money, only 1.1. You save $8 million by cutting Tyrone Crawford and letting him leave. That's a no-brainer decision. I rank these in order of most likely to least likely, at least in my eyes. The reason he's not number one, Crawford is willing to take a pay cut. And the Cowboys clearly missed him on the field this year. Yes, the production has never been elite play, but the value he brings as a leader, as a member of the locker room, and most importantly, as a guy who does the dirty work, there's value there. It is not $8 million base salary value. Make no mistake about that. But what if Tyrone Crawford was willing to cut his base salary in half? What if he goes from $8 million down to $4? I think that makes sense. And Tyrone Crawford, ladies and gentlemen, has played before in a 3-4 scheme. He has some experience in that role. He has done it before. And if you do make that change, I think Crawford actually ends up bringing you a lot of value. I think this could be a really good idea for the Dallas Cowboys to bring in Crawford, let him play as that almost 4-5 technique guy. Have him be a player who does the dirty work. He can two-gap for you. So for me and for Crawford, pay cut. That's my vote. You guys cast yours. 1 for keep, 2 for cut, 3 for pay cut. I think it's a 3. Now, the number I have in mind is you take his base salary, you cut it in half. You did that with Sean Lee, for example. If I can get Tyrone Crawford's cap hit from 9.1 down to 5.1, that's much more palatable for me. I think that makes sense for the Dallas Cowboys. Now you're saving $4 million, and you can use that onto re-signing a Quinn or Byron Jones, or saving it for another free agent that you end up adding. So I see a lot of threes coming in. I agree. I think pay cut is the route to go for the Dallas Cowboys. Now we're talking cap cuts today. That's not all we're going to talk about here on the Cowboys Report. We will have a whole bunch of draft coverage, free agency coverage, live Q&As, and everything around the Dallas Cowboys. No Cowboys channel is going to put out the number of videos, the quality of videos, and the topics you guys want to talk about than us here at the Cowboys Report. So hit that big red button and subscribe today. Another cap cut here for the Dallas Cowboys. That is Jamize Olawale, the fullback for Dallas. He is also in a unique and I would almost call it awkward situation. He has a club option for the 2020 season, but the way I understand the contract is the cap hit is going to be 1.7. The dead million is 1.2 million. That means there's only $500,000 in savings. That makes it tough. I'm down to get rid of him because he didn't do much for you, but if you still want to have a fullback on your roster, the question you have to decide is, can I find a fullback for $50K? The answer unequivocally is no. That's not even the minimum salary in the NFL. So even though I would be willing to dump Olawale, if you're going to use a fullback, you're going to. At least Mike McCarthy has, Kellen Moore has. Everything says that yes, you're going to. If you're not just going to go super cheap, you're going to spend more money. That's not the route I want to go. It's a fullback. I would keep Olawale for one more year. Then next year, we can revisit. Now, if the new CBA is done before the club option decision has to be made by March 18th, we can revisit this. But for now, because you're not saving anything, you're probably better off keeping him, at least for the time being. Now, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Cowboys120. Gets you a 120% deposit bonus. That's chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Cowboys120 to bet on NBA, the Super Bowl, of course, as well. Many of you have mentioned this before, and I feel the need to stop it now, just so we're clear. Tyron Smith, $13.45 million cap hit. The dead money, $5.29. that actually makes Smith cheap versus other tackles. I'm going to tell you why it's a horrible idea to cut Tyron Smith. But I will let you guys type your votes in. Why for yes and for no if Dallas should keep Tyron Smith? It is a very, very clear yes. I know there are many of you who think he's bad at football or don't want him anymore or whatever. But the correct answer here is why for yes. You want Tyron Smith on that line. You need Tyron Smith on that line. Look at what else you have at the tackle spot. Cam Fleming, Mitch Hyatt, Brandon Knight. None of those guys are Tyron Smith. You could try to move Connor Williams back to left tackle, put McGovern in at left guard. I don't know if it's a great idea to get worse at two spots. Typically, not the route you want to go. And most importantly, here's why you're not cutting Tyron Smith to save about $8 million. Here are the highest paid offensive tackles based on a per year figure. Lane Johnson makes $18 million per year. The tackle market gets reset once, if not twice, every single offseason. Tyron's cap hit, or his per year money, guys, 12.2, is 12th. He is still a top 10 left tackle. He's better than multiple dudes on that list. You're not going to find a better Tyron Smith and have him and pay him less than $12 million. And you're certainly not going to find one that costs less than the $8 million you save. Cap hit now, a little bit higher for Smith because cap hits fluctuate from year to year, 13.454. Also 12th in the NFL. Trent Brown's going to make $21.5 million this year on his cap hit. I don't think we fully realize yet, guys, just how valuable this contract is. I know that Tyron Smith will miss games. I am aware of that the body is starting to fail him. But as long as he's able to play, you keep bringing him back out there. Frankly, even 12 games of Tyron Smith, 13 games because he missed three the past 4 years, is well worth his cap hit. So the answer here is yes. You keep Tyron Smith. It's a no-brainer. You don't save enough money to justify it. Until his body fully fails him, or you have an actual plan behind him, you do not move on from Tyron Smith. It's absolutely a yes, you keep him. Now, in the same vein of stop suggesting these players, I saw it in the comments here, you cannot move on from Zeke Elliott, DeMarcus Lawrence, or Jalen Smith. Those players are on your roster in 2020. Here's why. If you trade these players, DeMarcus Lawrence, you save less than $2 million, and you're eating $20 million of dead money. Zeke Elliott, if you trade him, $19 million in dead money, that's an extra $8 million, what you're already paying him this year. Jalen Smith, it's $18.8, an extra $11 million. These three guys, even though some of you keep saying to trade them, if you do it, it costs you more money. You do not move on from those guys. It makes zero sense for the Cowboys to actually do it. Now, one name that makes a little bit of sense, you're not going to cut him, but I wanted to just throw it out there because I've seen you guys mention it before. I'm trying to give you guys what you want. I am a man of the people. The cap hit for Chidobe Awuzie is only 1.36, but you'd save $1 million if you moved on for him. Now, you don't cut him because you don't find corners of Awuzie of his caliber. I know he didn't play that well. Guys, at worst, he's a number 3 corner in the NFL. Look around the league. You're already thin. So you're not going to cut him. You could explore trading him if that is the route you want to go. What are we going to say to you potentially? You would also be trading somebody coming off of a down year, one of his worst years ever. That's not when you want to make a trade. So you can type in your T's for trade. I say you keep him. I know that we've ripped on Awuzie before. I think justifiably so. But you bring him back. And you hope that he gets better. If not, you let him walk in free agency. That's the route you go if you're the Dallas Cowboys, because you are so thin at the cornerback position. Byron Jones, I saw someone mention Anthony Brown, both free agents, along with your number 5 corner. That leaves Chidobe Awuzie, Jordan Lewis, and a bunch of dudes who've never played in the NFL real, meaningful snaps before. Not a good idea to trade away the only guys who can actually make an impact for you. So he's not going to get cut. I doubt he's traded. But so many of you have asked about it. I just wanted to mention it here on the show. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.